Hi, this is Michael P. Coleman, Content Director for Brother Be Well. Thanking you for checking out this series, this trauma and healing series brought to you by Blue Shield of California's Blue Sky Initiative. Another layer got added to that, as I understand. Somewhere
Mm,
along those 17 years, you realized that you were gay, and your mother and perhaps other family, I don't quite recall, but I know you wrote about your mother not taking that very well. So yet again, there was a barrier being placed between you and success. Talk about your mom not really embracing your being a young gay man.
yeah, Michael, thank you for asking that. I intentionally left that piece out because I do want to address that question, but more clearly to the audience at home. Um, that was one of the reasons why my stay with my mom was a short affair. Um, now, I always knew that I was gay. As a child, I was quite flamboyant. Not that any LGBTQ plus kid at home watching, if you're not flamboyant, doesn't mean that, you don't fit the mold, or, you somehow, like not gay or bi or lesbian or transgender. Um, it's just how I was, and I recall I was quite flamboyant as a little boy. I would play with my cousin. I have a female cousin in Vietnam, and we would play dress up, and I would pretend to be a princess, and all the things that I think every kid would would through trial and error who figure out who they are. Um, and when I was about, I think right around like 11, 12 or so, that's when I realized that there is this strange attraction to male counterparts, my classmates, or older, like teachers. I would have these crushes on these men, or boys, um, and not attracted at all to my female high school, high school, middle school friends. And I always thought that it's different, but I didn't know that it is not accepted. I just thought that was just part of me, and I assumed that it's okay. Um, I think when I arrived to the United States, it's really opened my eyes as what is truly to be a LGBTQ plus person. The reason why is it's much more accepted here. It's more talked about here, and you can walk down the street and see two men or two women, or whatever gender identity or sexual orientation they identify with, two people loving each other, holding hands. That is not considering a norm, which is a male and a female. Um, and my mom happened to find out through my cousin that I was actually talking to a gentleman in Vietnam who's just a little bit older than me, and we were exchanging very intimate and loving uh, messages with loving languages, and calling each other like honey and whatnot.
Mm.
Um, and my mom just could not wrap her head around that idea, that concept that I could possibly be gay. In our language, the word gay roughly translates to bede, or a more advanced way, a more polite way to say it these days, or more politically correct, is giới tính thứ ba, which means the third gender. Um, it's a rough way to translate, but Vietnam has come a long way as far as
Mm.
sexual orientations and acceptance to the LGBTQ plus community. But my mom just could not wrap her head around me being gay, and she was remarried at that time to a gentleman from northern Vietnam who's happened to be a Catholic, and she converted to Catholicism. And if you're a strict Catholic, you condemn homosexuality and think it's a sin. And because I had to put myself in my mom position, so will she choose a son who she has never seen or lived with, except for the 9 months that she was carrying me and then the first 6 months of my life, or her brand new husband and a baby on the way. And as much as I blame her, she chose what was best for her at the time, which is her new family.
Mm.
And she asked me to leave. She just make it very difficult for me to live with her. And there was some incident too, which I will spare the audience, but it was just so brutal and so heartbreaking that I decided that I would not thrive in this environment. So when she asked me to leave, I left.
Well, you said you'll spare the audience, Patrick. Are you sure you want to do that? Because that's a heck of a
Uh,
cliffhanger. Give us a sense
yeah.
at
So
least. I mean,
if you want to share, I'll
come
share.
on
I'll
now,
share
yeah. Don't just leave us
myself.
hanging. What,
Yeah.
and what,
So
how did she make it so difficult for you to be there?
Um, beside the trivial things like, when I first came to the US, having an alarm in the household is like unheard of in Vietnam. Nobody has
Hmm.
alarm. So, it was a snowing winter day, and I think in the morning there was like fresh powder. My mom was living in Pennsylvania at that time, and
A lot
I've
of
never
snow.
seen snow before because I came from a tropical country. So the
Mm,
first thing I did was opening the door wide open and go see the snow because I was so excited.
sure.
About 10, like 5 minutes, the alarm just went off. It's just like, wow, wow, wow. And
Wow.
there came rushing, my mom rushing down with my father, my stepfather, and they were just blasting my ears out. Like, what were you thinking? Like, you want to get the police here and the firemen and blah, blah, blah. And that was my first experience, first day in the United States. That was my
Wow.
first experience with my mom. So that was
Wow.
was quite tough.
Got it.
Um, and what was happening next was, when my mom found out about my sexuality, was that she she started having these accusations. I think one of the most hurtful things she has ever said or done to me was that she accused me of inappropriately touching my uncle, who is her brother. Um, and it never happened. And I respect my uncle and I think of him as a father figure. But here was my mom accusing me of inappropriately touching him. Um, I don't know how to describe that other than feeling a deep sense of disappointment and betrayal and pain. I have never experienced that much pain, even
Mm,
though my father continuously beat me for almost 13 years of my life.
mm,
Um, what my mother did way surpassed what my dad did, and it left a scar that never healed. To this day, I still remember my mom coming home and asked me, "Did you inappropriately touching your uncle?" Um, and of course, I called my uncle right away and was just thinking, what the bleep were you talking about with my mom? And like, why she's accusing me of this?
mm.
And he said, I've never said anything. Later
Ah,
on, I just realized that my mom was trying to, somehow corner me and see if I will come out to her. And that was I would call them the last straw on the camel's back, where
right.
I just decided that enough is enough.